Hi, how you doing?
Hi Nick, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Can you hear me correctly? Right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm Albert from Metal Hammer Spain magazine website and all these kind of things that exist today in the
Yeah, all right,
in
no
the,
worries.
in the damn internet. And
Hmm.
I guess lots of interviews these days, right? With the promo of the new album.
Yeah, there's been lots and lots. That's good. All good.
Okay, 17 albums. My God,
Yeah,
amazing. Still remember when I discovered the band with this one, with Icon, with on MTV with Vanessa.
yeah,
5 years since the last studio album. A lot of things happened, and especially for the in the music world, the COVID effects, of course. Is that the main reason for these 5 years? It's the first time I think that there's been 5 years between studio albums.
yeah. I mean, there's usually around 3 years if you include writing, recording, and then touring. It's around three, and then but obviously we've had 2 years with the pandemic. So I guess pretty much that is the reason why, you know.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's necessarily been a negative from from the song perspective because we've had actually had a bit of a break from writing an album every 3 years, so we had a bit more time to kind of work, a bit more room to maneuver and sort of really think about each song and how varied they're going to be, how varied the album's going to be, and so yeah, I think it's been a plus having this long, I guess this time,
Mhm.
particularly after 17 albums.
Yeah, I remember from that period, from Obsidian, I remember an interview with Greg, where he explains me about being an album more diverse intentionally after Medusa. We were talking, of course, about the Obsidian. This time, I think it is a kind of mix of both. Are you agree?
Yeah, I think there's elements of many periods of the band are on this. There's elements of it. Um, I think the probably the biggest single most influence, and even then, it's I say influence in the loosest term, was probably the fact that we re-recorded the Icon album because we were just started to write this album when we did that when we re-recorded that, and just approaching those songs and re-singing those songs and replaying those songs just kind of reminded us how we used to write songs back in the day, back in those days, before file sharing and the internet and all that. So, and we thought, let's try and get a bit of that vibe going, and perhaps some of these songs, not certainly not every song, but that was the kind of single most thing that kind of steered the ship slightly with this album. But I mean, with that said, there's plenty of songs that are nothing like that album, but a song like Silence Like the Grave kind of has a similar vibe to that, I guess. So, but I mean, even then, song Diluvium is very reminiscent of something off the Shades of God album. So, I think it's quite good to maybe dip your toe in the past occasionally to see where you were when you did that, and if it brings back any memories of how you did it. But at the same time, we still always look forward all the time. We treat each album with a blank canvas, but it's not. It's I don't think there's anything wrong with, just kind of flipping through into the past occasionally.
Mhm. Certainly, I agree with what you're saying because certainly talking about all your records, there's records that it's the same band, but very different records because you're always open to explore new things and new elements. For example, it's very different this one from this one,
Yeah,
and
for
it's
sure.
and it's and it's the same band.
Yeah, but I mean, it's. I think that the running theme is. I mean, the way Greg plays his guitar is very unique. I think that is
Of
the kind of
course.
benchmark of Paradise Lost. I think is basically down to Greg's guitar style. I mean, that is very much the sound. So whatever we do, it always kind of sounds like Paradise Lost anyway. Regardless of how heavy the guitars are or aren't.
Mhm. Talking about the songs of the album, I think that there's songs like Salvation and Silence Like the Grave, with all this diversity that the band shows during your career. Other like Savage Days and Sirens will satisfy the fans of I think of rock and classic metal, but there's also, for example, Serpent on the Cross and Tyrant Serenade in your unique and very personal style. I don't know if you have the same feelings about this diversity or these songs.
Yeah, I mean, we were aware of how kind of different they are, but like I said, I think the passage at the time we had to do them, we were able to actually sit and think about let's try a different style or a different style in each song. Sometimes if you have very limited time to write, your songs can become a little bit samey because you're in the same mindset. But we definitely had more time to. I mean, Lay a Wreath Upon the World was, I think that's the first song we put together for this album, and that I think that was started to be written even before the pandemic. I think we started to actually and that song's very different to the other songs. But we kind of shelved that for a while. But then when we were bringing all the songs back, we said let's bring that one out again and see how it fits with the rest of the album. And we thought it fit quite nicely because it's quite different to the rest of it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's good to have a bit of time to mix up the styles and work on different different feelings in different songs. But I think you can have too much time as well, you know. So I think we got the kind of sweet spot in the time we had.
Mhm. Is there any song on the album that you consider particularly representative of the band's current direction?
I would say the first 30 seconds of the first song. You know,
Yeah.
the fact is the first song is because I mean it wasn't going to be the first song originally, but it's so typical of Paradise Lost, that song. I think it's just so everything about it. It's got the hallmarks of the band. So I would say that song, particularly, you know, if you keep taking a kind of soundbite of the album, I would say that one. Other than that, I mean, I don't know really. I mean, the whole thing just represents us now and where we're going to be for the next. I don't know, but this is where we are now. So
And I think one of the reasons that that you mentioned, for example, this song, it's, for example, and you mentioned previously about the Greg's touch with that guitar are absolutely personal and classic Paradise Lost.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always been the sound of the band since we started. You know, I mean, it's always been his the way he plays. You know, it's a very unique style he's got, which he just that's just how he plays. It's not anything he's trained or anything. It's just how he plays it. So it's yeah, and I think there's a lot of that on this album. You know, for sure.
And one of the things that I enjoy the most about not only about your new record in general in rock and metal scene is that you can listen. Usually, you can listen the a whole album, all the songs, and has a meaning. All the songs are with a similar line. I mean, it's not music with just one, two songs, big hits, big success. It happens in pop music or something like that. And still in metal scene, the bands for the bands I think are important. The album, the concept, a couple of songs together.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, we gone are the days of where we would, we had to write. I mean, back in the day, you had to write singles. You know, I mean, if you didn't get
Yeah.
MTV play, you would automatically sell way less than if you. I mean, obviously, it was all about getting on MTV back in the day. So you had to kind of write singles, and on the entire writing process was used to be around. Well, what's going to be the single? And then you could have a brilliant album, but someone would say, "Oh, well, I don't hear a single." I mean, that's all it seemed to be about, which is incredibly kind of depressing for a band to just think, well, all you got to do is a single. So, I mean, luckily we haven't had that for a number of years, and we don't even think about singles anymore. So it's instantly, we can just write albums like we used to do in the old days. So it's kind of, we don't have that kind of single thing anymore.
In some way, maybe are happening the same actually, because when Abandon, I remember, for example, in last Arch Enemy album, when it's released, there have been, I think, 4 or 5 songs released previously. It's the half of the album.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's always useful to have a song that, if you get a song that breaks through into mainstream and people that don't even like heavy metal know the song, then yeah, okay. But I mean, how often does that happen? You know, I mean, when was the last time that happened with Enter Sandman, maybe?
Yeah.
Uh, and how long ago was that? I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
rarely
yeah.
in the metal world it rarely happens, you know. So it's, but I mean, I guess you know, obviously record labels and management they always want to get that song, but we've always been an album band, and it was the single thing was, if anything, was a hindrance more than anything. I mean, like these days we don't even think about it, you know.
Mhm. In that conversation that I mentioned with Greg for Obsidian, he explained that he had six different versions of Obsidian in their hard drive. Did it happen the same this time?
We probably had hundreds of different versions. I mean, yeah. I mean, the revisions in the songs are crazy. I mean, how they start and how they end up. You're probably talking gigabytes per song. I mean, like 100 gig hard drive per song. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, how they yeah they can really change. I mean, if something you can keep hammering away at one idea, you can have like 30 versions of one idea, and then eventually you think, hang on a minute, this isn't working. So then
Mhm.
it's right back to basics. So then it's usually completely rewritten, and there might be an element of what you heard previously there, but it's very, very hidden. So it's, yeah, I mean, sometimes you can really bang your head against the wall, and you just, but when you get to where you want to get to, the payoff is worth it because you know that's the whole point. We still get an excitement about the finished result, you know, and when we get to the song where it's like exactly how we want it, and we get the feeling that we get when we think, yes, that works exactly how we want it. And but to get to that is can be a fucking nightmare, if I'm honest. It can be really, you know, painstakingly you know, hard work to get there. But you know, I mean, I guess that's the it's like a puzzle almost, you know, sometimes if it's not working. It's rare that a song works straight away. Sometimes it does. Sometimes things just work, but it's rare. I think it's
Yeah.
rare with any band.
Mhm. And what about lyrics? Paradise Lost lyrics have always reflected a strong melancholic and existential component. Tell please a little bit to the Spanish people what did you want to explore in this new work? I can imagine listening the news these days and world situation. It's a gift to write lyrics actually.
Well, I mean, well, to be specific about what's going on in the world, I'd rather avoid it if I can, because you see it. You know, I mean, I don't write about the news because I can just watch the news. I don't need to write about it. But I guess everything I've written is about how I feel as the age that I write it, and I guess now is exactly the same. I mean, there's a lot more death in our lives in the age that we are now. We've seen a lot more of it, and then we're also wondering when it's going to be our turn, which is something else. So there's always that threat there, and there's always that. I kind of question beliefs and people beliefs. I also question how people deal with situations and deal with life changing events, how it affects them. And I mean, even just you know, living through the pandemic, it was interesting to see how people reacted to that and how it affected people's personal lives and how it didn't, and how some people it just didn't affect them at all. But there's people, friends of mine, are still affected by it. So not that I write about the pandemic, but how people just deal with major turmoil, I guess, is always fascinating, and also what makes people believe in things and what makes them not believe in things. So the questions we all ask, and I still write about that, but just from a 54-year-old now as opposed to a 18-year-old or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, it's very different. That uh, things and write a guy of 20 years. That now we are more or less from the same age because I'm 50.
Right. Yeah. It's all downhill from now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I read a little bit about the cover. It features the painting "The Court of Death." It's covered from George Frederick Watt, which it is in the Tate Gallery in London. It makes sense if we consider the lyrics at the atmosphere of the album. I'm talking about covers. You work for Medusa with Branca from Barcelona. Maybe people here in Spain don't know about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that for that time we kind of we were into that style for sure. It's a very specific style, but that's exactly what the kind of thing we were looking for at that time. So yeah, we were, it's. I mean, we always try and kind of shake up the. When I look at all the album covers next to each other, they're all very varied, and I kind of like that. But it's not very often we agree on artwork straight away. It's the artwork is so subjective, and I think it's more subjective than music. You might not like a metal band, but you can appreciate its metal. But with art, it's a total different thing. It's just so subjective. So I mean, we rarely, but we agreed straight away with this, and I was so pleased because it made everything else so easy. So yeah, with this artwork, we always wanted to use like a grandmaster type painting, like a Renaissance type painting. So and Greg found this painting, and I liked it straight away. And so straight away we were there, and then everything else, the layout, the artwork, the everything else comes after, and it all works once but you got to get that cover. But yeah, we really agreed, and it does tie in with the kind of life and death elements, and like I say, questioning everything. It ties in nicely with, but the actual artwork itself is a huge painting. I think it's like enormous painting. I think it's in an art gallery in Bristol in the UK, or it could be in London now, but I think we're going to try and visit the actual artwork to get a photograph with it at some point this year. But yeah, anyway, but it's it kind of straight out of the gate it worked. So I was kind of happy that we straight away, So it wasn't like.
If you have to describe Ascension in the history of Paradise Lost, what would it be?
Well, I would say it's our best album, but
Very typical.
yeah, I mean, no, I mean it's I don't know. I mean, it was I don't think it wasn't easy to write it, but everything we did paid off, and then once we got to a point, I thought, yeah, we managed to do it. Hopefully, a good album, and I think it fits in, and it's a nice transition from the last album, but it's also different from the last album. So, but yeah, it's kind of not for me to say because as an artist, you always think you still haven't done your greatest album. So if you get to a point where you think your best work is in the past, then you may as well stop. There's no point continuing if you have that mindset. So, but I think it's the best. It is what we are now. It's the best we are now, and that's it. And that's all. That's the mind. It's for the general public to decide that, where it fits in the annals of our history, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Talking about the vocal parts, over the years, you have maintained a vocal style that has evolved from deep growls to more melodic registers. How do you take care of your voice, and how do you decide which register to use in each song, actually?
I mean, as far as vocals go, you just got to have lots of rest, no late nights, no partying. But it's not that difficult to avoid because I'm not a young man anymore, so I don't need to be going out to nightclubs and bars. I don't need to do that. It doesn't interest me anymore. I can have a quiet drink with my friends and then go to bed early. It's fine. But I guess, it's easy to look at my voice purely based on my age range because I'm beyond the party time. So, but plenty of sleep, is really important for voice. As regarding what the right voice for the right part, I guess it's just down to however aggressive the song is. I've learned singing kind of softer voice over heavier riffs sounds kind of rubbish. It sounds like it needs to have a hard voice over a hard riff. So that's something I learned definitely over the years. It's got to be suitable voice with a suitable riff. So I tend to just play it on that, on that theory.
Mm-hmm. And talking about other musical projects, what's the motivation to explore a universe so distant from metal, for example, with Ghost? Was it the creative liberation or personal challenge, or for example, because it's very different host from this one, the Bloodbath?
Yeah. We just no, we it was during the pandemic. We had some downtime, obviously, and Greg says you fancy just doing like a host type thing as just something as a bit of fun. But it turned out we were as kind of serious about it as we were PL, and we were tearing our hair out about that as well. So because we just take everything so intensely. But yeah, it was just basically like a bit of a lockdown project, really, to see where it would go. and that was pretty much it, really. I mean, we didn't want to go straight into another Paradise Lost album. We wanted to have a little bit of a break, and I think it definitely helped bridge the gap quite nicely. Actually, it was nice to kind of do it, and then start working on the PL album after that.
Mhm. For fans here in Spain of these other musical visions, any news from Bloodbath, or I don't know if you are thinking in any collaboration or.
No, not right now. I mean, we've got a lot of obviously new album coming out, so we're going to be busy with PL. But I mean, Bloodbath, we're still doing festivals next year. We've got stuff coming in. As far as new music, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see what's around the corner. But we're still.
In talking about collaborations, you have lent your voice to a variety of very different projects. What attracts you to collaborating outside your usual environment?
I just got to like the song. If I like the song, that's pretty much all I need.
Just this.
Generally speaking, if it doesn't matter what as long as I have to ultimately, the bottom line is I have to like the song. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. It's pretty much gut feeling. You know what I mean? So I kind of tend to basically, if I like the song, then that is the bottom line.
Hmm. And one thing that we in Spain here are very disappointed in the last years because it's happening usually, and this time with Paradise Lost happened again. No touring in Spain this autumn in the European tour. In the last years it's happening usually not only with you, with a lot of bands are not playing here, and for we comment and discuss a little bit with different bands. And for example, Smile from Destruction just explained that the promoters here don't want to pay that is required just because actually all the things are more expensive, buses, etc.
It could be. I mean, it depends on each band's individual situation. I mean, a lot of it could be to do with the routing as well. If it's viable to drive X amount, a lot that could be. I mean, but we're going to do a second leg anyway, so we will play Spain in the second leg. So it's only part one, and then we'll do part two next year. So because we started to split up our tours, we don't want to be away for 8 or 9 weeks in one go. We're getting too old
Okay.
for that, so we want to just do two legs. So we will probably do, places where we didn't do in leg one. So, but I mean, like I say, it depends on each band's circumstances, but. It's usually nothing to do with the band why they will not go to a place. It's usually down to the logistics and finance and all the boring stuff like that. Usually 9 times out of 10.
And yeah, and you play usually here during the years because it's not strange for you.
No, absolutely not. But like I said, this I mean, but we will come. The second leg will be we will get to Spain for sure.
Okay. Okay, Nick, thanks for your time. Hope
Yeah,
to
thank
see
you.
you playing in this second leg here in my case in Barcelona because I live close to Barcelona in Catalonia. Thanks for your time. I appreciate.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. Appreciate it. Thank
Ho-
you very much.
Hope to see you playing here in the second leg.
Yeah, definitely, man. Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye bye.